and this is coming from my constituents, because we need this. We need tax revenues in this county. We have 11,000 homes that have been approved with little to nothing in proffers to help pay for transportation, our schools, our sheriff, our fire, and EMS. We've got to find tax revenues that can help us out. And whether you like Kalahari or not, this would be, as numbers show, the biggest tax base. My biggest concern, we're talking about taxes, I got constituents telling me this chair sat empty for 5 months when a lot of things were going on, whether it be dealing with packages like this, our rural broadband. There's a lot of things that went on while this chair sat empty. So the people of Livingston want 5 months of their taxes back. What am I supposed to say to them? No taxation without representation. But yet deals are being made and we had no representation. And it's nobody's fault. The good Lord intervened during that time, but I just feel like we could have had whether it be somebody to communicate some of these things with constituencies. So maybe in the future, but that's neither here nor there. This was put on the consent agenda. Something that's this big, and I had a lot of questions when I came in. One of the questions that I brought up, I didn't like the water tower part, and I'm just bringing this up because I was not told the truthfulness on this, or if it was, I want to confirm on this. But it says in our incentive agreement that I was told, I said, why are we letting them advertise on our water tower? Because I don't want our county looking like NASCAR. I don't want CVS to be able to advertise. I just don't want Kellogg's advertised on Route 3 or whatever it may be. But they said, well, they're going to paint our water towers. We wouldn't have to pay for the maintenance on our water towers. They would be, that's great. That's great. How can we help pay for some of our county services? Well, in the agreement, it says that they are not responsible for painting the water tower. They're only responsible for maintaining the advertised space. So which I'd like a clarification on that, since we're able to open this back up now. But I'll finish up and I'll be done. My biggest thing, if they need gap, they should go find the investors.
This is a commercial property coming in at the peak of a recession, potentially, with an $885 million investment in Spotsylvania County. And we're possibly going to say no to that deal and keep the dime, right? We've done other deals with upfront. Lidl, we gave $1.4 million upfront in cash to bring them here. That $1.4 million paid for itself in less than 2 years because we're getting about $1 million a year in property tax from Lidl. But we put $1.4 million up and tax incentives that they're still getting today. The VA Health Center, it's coming, and we wanted those jobs, the doctor, nurses. It's one of our strategic plans, right? It's in our strategic plan to bring those jobs here and other businesses that will grow up in the area. We've paid a lot in road work that we're going to have to do for the health center. IDX, the old GM plant, anybody remember that? The GM plant. It sat vacant, I don't know how long, 20 years? There's no tax revenue coming in that. I think we paid about $3 million to get that roof fixed. Was that a good investment? We got 40 acres of industrial land now, and it's more than paid itself back. And I'm not big on putting upfront money at all. This project has no upfront money. Baseball, we did consider baseball here, a partnership. I'm glad we didn't. And it was $42 million, $30 million for a stadium and $12 million for a parking garage that would have affected our debt capacity. It didn't pass. Fredericksburg did get baseball, and they're paying $1.05 million a year to have that. So good for them. I like to go to see an Nats game there. But it's something that I would not support because that is a true partnership. This, we're not at risk for anything. Right now, we're getting a dime. We're getting $10,000 a year. The largest taxpayers in Spotsylvania County right now, and it's easy to get lost in the numbers. If each one of these is 100,000, right, 100 pennies, that's $1 million. And that's actually 1.5 million. That's the largest taxpayer to Spotsy right now. If this goes through, if Kalahari comes to our county, and whatever you can get lost in the numbers of what we're paying back and what the tax revenues is, but here we go. There's another 2 million, 2 million, 6 million. to the county year one, right? So are we willing to risk? Here's what we're getting now. Here's what we don't have anything to salvage. And yes, you could say that this is taxpayer money, but right now it's this dime. We're getting $10,000 a year. And I've just mentioned other things that we brought to the area, but again, 900 jobs is not included in this $6 million, nor are the businesses that come up and pop around them. We know other businesses are going to come. So I think we'd be foolish not to pass this. I just think that there is no risk to the county. And if it's transportation issues, we have a lot of money here that we can try to adjust those or fix those. 3 years, you got $18 million. And after 20, guess what? You get 4 times this much. So if we want to jeopardize that, then we can jeopardize it. But I for one, have to support this. Thank you.
We do have, this board's been made aware of this agreement. We do read-ins and we go to closed session. Those read-ins, Carl gives the specifics of whatever we're talking about, and we come out and we vote to go into closed session, we vote to go out of closed session. When we come out, we vote that everything that we said we were going into, that's all we talked about. When you do a read-in that mentions a entertainment business, specifically in the district where this is at, it's not hard to figure out for the general public when the read-in is done, now that Kalahari has been announced, that was Kalahari in that read-in. Those read-ins were read starting on December 8th, 2020, and 8 other times up until February 2022, January 2022, both meetings, the 11th and on the 25th, 11/9/21, 10/12/21, 8/10/21, 5/25/21, and then that gets us back to December 8th, 2020. So this performance agreement, this board, not all of us were here then, but the board as a whole was made aware of the performance agreement.
See, the problem is not that Kalahari's coming. It's not that we're getting $7 million, which, you know, I hate to say this, is our budget goes up way more than that every couple of years. So that $7 million, we're not even going to feel it in a couple of years. It won't. Because we on average bring in about $6 to $8 million in new revenue. And in fact, during the pandemic, for some odd reason, our county brought in even more money. Taxes didn't go down. Schools didn't get funded, but yet money came in. So if it's the almighty dollar, I'm not going to bow down. What I'm concerned with is several things. Yes, this was discussed in closed session. Yes, I was there for all those closed session discussions. And I will say that my comments were always focused on transportation, traffic, and what the deal was going to look like. So we were informed, Mr. Jacob, you weren't there at the time. We were informed, but then it didn't come up again until May 24th on a consent agenda. A lot of this would have been avoided if the public would have been informed. This great deal should have been read out loud from the rooftops. Look how wonderful this is going to be. Come join us. Look how great this is. Why wasn't that done? Why the consent agenda put in on a Friday for a Tuesday meeting? That is just wrong. And I wasn't here, and I'll publicly announce that I was not here. That weekend, our eldest daughter was graduating high school, and our middle schooler had a middle school awards ceremony. So yes, I missed my board meeting for that. And I would again. But it wasn't on the agenda. Another point, yes, we have given incentives. We've given a lot of incentives. But those incentives have included reasons for them. The IDX plan, it was idle. It was sitting there. There was talk about tearing it down, just doing away with it. We worked out a great deal. It cost money, yes. But now we have IDX, who just a few months after they opened their doors came in for an expansion. And we have industrial land behind that we can market. So there has to be an upside. And $7 million, don't get me wrong, is an upside. My concern is that the deal was done in such a way that the public wasn't informed. I've heard from people that even still say, Kalahari's coming here? We have no idea. And one last point, and I'll reiterate this again, because we have given out money in incentives. but we've also turned down incentive packages too. So just because they come forward doesn't mean that we approve them. And I will tell you, it's a bad precedent, and I have said this before, it's a bad precedent to start incentivizing businesses that will come here when the upside for the county is very low. $6 million coming to the county will not be a drop in the bucket for transportation issues. It costs tens of millions of dollars. My goodness, when I first got on the board, the connection road for Germanna was around $6 million. Now it's up to $47, $48, $50 million. How many $6 million do we need to just do that one project? So I think the county could have done a better deal. Kalahari could be here. I would love to have Kalahari here. I just think the terms are not on the side of the county. I will not support this. But I do appreciate your time, and I do wish you well, and I hope that you're absolutely successful and, in fact, come back and want to expand, because we are business friendly, and I want the county to continue down that road. Thank you.